if you back up to the event of getting the news about your uncle, is that clear that event gave you the identity at a young age that you are gonna devote your life to hunting evil, and you're gonna find a way to make that your purpose in life?
What it did is
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Mountain Tough Podcast. I'm your host, Dustin Diefenderfer, and I'm so glad that you are here. We absolutely love seeing you come back to these episodes week after week, and it is our goal to bring you an inspiring guest every single time that helps you with that mental toughness, helps you with that mental fitness, so that you can add these tools to that mental toolbox. If you are a first-time listener to the show, quickly, I do want to let you know that you do get 6 weeks of free Mountain Tough Plus just by being a listener of this podcast. All you need to do to take advantage of that is go to mountaintough.com, click Start Free Trial, and then enter the code MOUNTAINPOD. That's MTNPOD, all one word, all caps. That gets you going 6 weeks for free on the Mountain Tough app. Shifting gears now to today's guest. On the show today, we have Medal of Honor recipient Florent Groberg. He was a United States Army officer. He served in the War of Afghanistan, and in August 2012, he was severely injured attempting to thwart a suicide bomber, where he was presented the Medal of Honor. So please stand by for my conversation with Florent Groberg. I was curious, wanted to start with you with your story, and a lot of us have read your story in different news headlines and news articles. But when you think about that, like what's part of your story that's not included in those headlines, in those articles that you would want people to know?
Yeah, I think it's the shaping of a warrior to an extent. I think everyone's got a path, everyone's got a story, and there's very specific actions and situations and experiences that we go through in our lives that sort of dictate whether or not, not whether or not, it dictates who we're going to become and what type of decisions we're going to make. And I'm not specifically talking about August 8, 2012, the day that, where my life completely changed, the worst day of my life, when I lost 4 of my friends. But I'm talking about more about the fact that as a 12-year-old coming back from school, walking to my door, seeing my dad shockingly at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon when he was supposed to be at work, telling me that my uncle had been killed by a terrorist organization, how that very specific, just completely ordinary day sort of set a chain reaction in my life that changed everything about who I was and who I would become. And so you read about service, you read about the actions of August 8, 2012, and you think about our Ranger School and all the cool stuff, but what you don't really focus on is that 12-year-old kid whose life has now been completely sort of flipped upside down in an emotional and mental way. So as we're talking about mental toughness and things, this is it's all in my head at that point, right? It's not, none of it is physical. It's the way my mind took the news and how it affected me emotionally and spiritually, and sort of shaped the way forward for me. And so, and then you start peeling the onion back a little bit, and you start understanding, wow, there's a reason why I am who I am, and I became who I became. And it's not because of just Flo Groberg, it's because of my uncle, it's because of my father, it's because of my grandfather. My grandfather was a prisoner of war in the French Indochine, so the French Vietnam, for 3 years. And one of the earliest memories I have is being in North Africa with him and seeing, walking into his little room and seeing his back and all these scars. I'm talking, an entire back was just scarred up. And I'm 3.5 years old. I thought it was funny. And it's like, oh, you got a boo boo, an ouchie, and he didn't react well to it. But I remember that very clearly. It's just one of the most probably one of the most vivid memories that I have. And so then as I got older, I started learning more about that, about him and things he's done, which are incredible just to be associated with that man.
Hmm.
And then seeing what happened to my uncle, and they killed his son because of his history, because my grandfather's history and how prominent he was in Algeria and respected. That to me is the one thing about what I learned throughout my life is that, and I've taken that into serious account raising my children is the impact of your early years in a foundation that is going to shape sort of who you could become.
Hmm.
Things are going to happen in life that you're going to grow and learn from, and they're going to take you in different directions. But I'm a firm believer in the original foundation of a human being. And for me, that innocence was taken away at the age of 11, 12. And it introduced me to the world of evil, and in a way made me become part of that world.
Hmm.
And I wanted to be part of that world. It drove me. And so I think about that, and I think about the concept of all the people I fought, and the people we've killed, and their sons, right? Uncles, nephews are probably they probably have a very similar feeling. So it's a never ending cycle. Um, and the moment that you understand that and you come to that becomes sort of your reality, I think it's the moment that you're ready to be prepared
Hmm.
for what's about to come. And so that's the mindset that I have. So it's funny. My whole life is shaped on an action that was thousands of miles away at the time, but it completely just put me on a different path.
It's really fascinating because so many times in all of our lives and the people that inspire us and the people that we read about, the people that are finding some sort of great achievements, like 99% of the time you can go back in that individual's life and find some big chunks of trauma. You can find a childhood battle that created their identity. You can find a struggle of a lifetime that created their identity. And you see it in Olympic athletes, you see it in all areas of high human performance. There's usually something early on that defined who they were and who they are, which is really fascinating from so many different angles because, like, spiritually, there's the concept of all things that have come at us negatively, God can turn into good. And then there is a whole other side of that that is many individuals that have chased some level of greatness or performance, achievement, now have their own children. And their own children, they want to replicate that mindset in them, that mental toughness in them, that grit, that willpower, that ambition. And we don't want to put them through any of the same types of struggles that maybe we went through that led to our identity. So it's a super fascinating topic.
It's a tough topic. It's a really good point. But it's so funny. You see, you're right. You wanna you want them to have that piece of you that's potentially has made you, successful or capable of enduring. But you had to go through whether it's trauma, trials and tribulations, whatever it is, some really significant piece. And yet you're trying to do everything that you can to for them to avoid that. Like, I don't want my son to go to war. If he wants to join the military, absolutely. I don't want him to go to war. And that's selfish of me, because I don't want to get that phone call, right? But if I'm him, if he's anything like me, he's gonna be like, dude, you did your part. I'm gonna go do my part. And if I don't come home, that's part of the deal. And at least I got to wear the uniform. I'm selfish. I'm like, no, I want you for me. Like I want you to be around.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't want to go through those tough times, but I also understand that to me, I'm a firm believer that the world's not going to get easier. I think the world's about to get a lot more confusing with all the technology that's happening, and I think it's going to be an interesting and the hatred that's going on right now. It's just human nature, right? We just can't get out of our own way of wanting to just do more and get more and be more powerful and get rid of our competition.
Hmm.
So he's so to me, it's like, how do I raise that kid, my son specifically, and my daughter too? She'll be an ace. To be prepared for a world where he is a wolf when he needs to be a wolf, right? And he's a shepherd when he needs to be a shepherd, but he's never a sheep,
Hmm.
right? And that's what I need to prepare him for. But I can't prepare him the way I was prepared. And that's exactly what you're saying, because that would be my mistake. Because then the expectations become unrealistic because he is not going to go through, hopefully, an uncle that's been killed. And the way, and I think part of the story that I would like to add in regards to my uncle, it's the way he was killed. It wasn't that he was just killed; he was beheaded
Hmm.
and dismembered and put in a box. See, that's what got to me the most, right? I mean, it killed my uncle, and I loved him to death. But the way they did it, I just thought it was so ruthless and barbaric. It's so to me, these people ceased being human beings; they became monsters.
Hmm.
And I wanted to go out there and get rid of them, find, fix, and destroy, eradicate them from this planet.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. You could never wish for my son to go through that ever. Um, and it's something that I have to understand. So how do I prepare? How do I make him mentally tough? How do I challenge him? And I think the concept that I have in my head right now is I'm going to put him in difficult situations throughout his life, and I'm going to allow him to fail, and I'm going to be there to teach and coach. I'm going to show him love, but I'm not going to pick him up every time. I'm going to have him, fail over and over and over again. And I do this now. He's 3 years old. He'll be on the ground. He'll fall. Be like, Daddy, pick me up. Like, nah, you got this, dude. Let's go. Put your hands down. Get on your knees. Get back up. And little things. And sometimes it's frustrating, so it's not. But what you said to me that's super key in this conversation is there is a different sort of a differentiator and a lot of people that I've seen successful, and that is the trauma aspect of it. Going
Hmm.
through something so difficult and overcoming it to an extent, or others masking it by doing something more. I just saw, and you know exactly who it is. I can't remember his name. This mountaineer that lost his children and wife in a plane crash,
Hmm.
and he kept climbing the highest mountaintops, right, and peaks, and then he met this other woman 4 years after that, and they climbed, and she was killed in an avalanche. And in that sense, I think you know what I'm talking about.
I've
And
seen
and
that. Yeah.
he's just his way of masking that pain was just to put himself in these incredibly difficult environments, doing what you would consider almost impossible feats for your own body to keep taking over and over again. But to me, it's just another coping mechanism to hide what you're really feeling on the inside. Very impressive, incredible, blah blah. But I don't understand it, right?
Yeah.
Um, you never heal, if that makes sense.
It's
You
common.
just
It's common. I mean, it's really common that that extreme trauma leads to this high octane, like nitrous burning fuel, where something in our life gives us a chip on our shoulder, and that chip on our shoulder burns so hot that we can climb mountains, we can run ultra marathons, we can push really hard, but it is also a short burning fuel, because eventually that runs out and we have to face that trauma. But like across many great athletes, you'll find that component for sure.
You know what it is, in my opinion? It's I don't give a fuck anymore. I what's the worst that can happen? It's happened.
Mm.
If I die doing this, in these extreme sports, who cares? Everything that I love, like that guy, is just disappeared in an instant. Um, and so what happens within your brain, and I am not a scientist, engineers, and so just you guys, but my understanding is this that there's chemicals within your brain that will in a normal situation or circumstance will that limits you or sort of create that fear meter. He and others who go through this, they don't it goes away. Now your own internal sort of mindset is no longer blocking you and telling you that's impossible or that's really dangerous. It's allowing you to just do what people consider absolutely extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the human body and just the human body itself is a miracle. People don't understand that we have a nuclear power in our head. It's called our brain.
That's insane.
It's insane. We've tapped what? I mean, a percentage of it, right? A couple percent of our own capabilities, right? So in essence, what some people that go through trauma they're able to do is sort of remove some of those fear mechanisms or those I call it impossibility complex and tap into an extra percent. And that extra percent is so extraordinary, so extraordinary to others that's how we judge them. We're like, wow, it's what it is. In my opinion, I never had that. Um, I had another extraordinary concept, which is I had the ability to get a clear understanding of what true love is. And that's how I tackled a suicide bomber. It's not because I'm extraordinary. I'm just ordinary as it gets. And I was doing my job, but I was able to really, my gift in life is that I'm my calmest in the most austere type of environments. So things really, really slow down for me when things are going really fast for others. That's my gift. Problem with that is when things are really slow and chill, I suck and become very complacent, right? It's like I'm an ADD machine, right?
Yeah.
With like my medication, like how I live. I have ADD, and so like, but to be able, so when that happened, I saw the threat and I wanted to go tackle him, but I did so without any reservations for for my life. I knew at that point I was probably dead, but not for a split second did I hesitate. My instincts, my body, my mindset allowed me to go do that. And I think it's because I truly believed in in saving the lives of my friends. I loved them. And it erased that fear. It kept me as a professional and I did my job. And then by the grace of God, I lived, right? And so people are very confused by that. And for years, I didn't understand it myself. And to be very clear, I still really don't understand it, right?
It'll be a lifetime.
Why I had that reaction. Or how was he capable of doing this? And then I started thinking about it as if my son was in the middle of the road and there's a semi truck going 60 miles per hour about to hit him, I'm running and I'm saving him.
You're going.
And even if that means I die. Because I love that kid, with every single ounce of my body and my soul. Same with my wife. And so, well, that's how I felt about my friends there too. And so, well, how do you get there? And I do believe that those experiences in my life early on so shaped me over the years to be able to be reactive in that sense, in that way. The only thing is, I didn't know it at all until the moment. There's zero chance that I would have told you that I'm that guy until it happened.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
You wouldn't know.
I had no idea.
I would like to, I do want to walk through that day a little bit more, but before we get to that day, if you back up to the event of getting the news about your uncle, is that clear that event gave you the identity at a young age that you are going to devote your life to hunting evil, and you're going to find a way to make that your purpose in life?
100%. Absolutely. Without a doubt. I became a new person that day, that afternoon. I had all these GI Joes and these you probably had those things, little toy soldiers, like the gray ones, the Germans, and the green ones, Americans, right?
Yeah.
Remember we used to create all these crazy battles. I was always born with them. I was always, since the moment I could start handling toys, I used to buy, my parents would give me, my mom would give me these things, and the bootleg GI Joes and stuff, because we didn't have much money. And I would just do these massive battles. Like, I spent 3-4 hours in my room. She says I was the greatest kid ever because I could be in my room at the age of 6 years old and be like, and just create these massive 3-hour battles by myself. But then she got really worried. That was a little odd. It kind of is, think about it. But that moment changed everything, because at that moment, in that specific instance, after my dad gave me the news, I went into my room and I took all those GI Joes, all my toys. And I wasn't playing with them anymore, but I had them, right? I mean, older now at that point. And I put them in a trash bag, and I threw them in the trash. And my father asked me, and I put this in a book. He's like, "Why'd you do that?" Like, what? And I said, "I'm done playing soldier. And the next time I'm gonna be a soldier. I'm gonna find and kill these people," or whatever I said.
Yeah.
I don't think I said kill these people. But this was a very emotional reaction. I'm a kid. I'm 12, right? Like, come on, right? What are you going to do? Be a warrior? What are you going to do, kid? But what it did, in essence, it flipped a switch. It flipped a switch that I didn't understand at the time was a calling.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I was probably going to be in the military. And 9/11 was what cemented my path, because the people that killed my uncle were the GIA. The GIA, the predecessor of Al Qaeda. Those same people.
Yeah.
Right. And now I'm like, you killed my uncle. Now I'm naturalized in this country as an American citizen, right? I was adopted by an American, and now I'm naturalized as a citizen. And 7 months later, the same assholes now attack my newly adopted country. Like, dude, you're fucking with me at that point. Like, I'm in. I'm give me the contract. I'm committed.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey guys, I did want to interrupt for a quick minute right here and let you know about some supplements I've been taking. I did shy away from supplements for a long time. I was always cautious about what they were made out of, where they were from, and who the team was behind the brands. But over the last couple of years, I've got to meet the team at Mountain Ops from top to bottom, and they are an amazing group of humans. I've got to know the CEO, Trevor Farnes, really well, and he is a mission-focused individual that cares about humans living a better quality of life so that they can have that abundant life. So over the last couple of years, he has helped me add some things that have changed the game for me. One of those things that I've added is creatine from Mountain Ops. It helps me maintain some muscle mass, but also it's a big player in cognitive function, one of the most researched supplements out there. Also, I've added reds, greens, and protein, all from Mountain Ops. What I found as a busy professional, always on the run, I do eat a whole foods diet for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but on the go, it's hard to get enough vegetables, fruits, and protein. So I've added that from Mountain Ops, and it has significantly changed the game. I can feel it in my performance. I haven't got sick for a long time, and I can certainly feel it in my mental clarity as well. The last thing I've added is the Mountain Tough Hydrate product for the backcountry, for hunting season. When I'm in the hills, I do run short on those electrolytes. We even have a Mountain Tough flavor, the Mountain Tough Lemon Lime Hydrate, and that is a game changer for hydration in the backcountry. So I keep it really simple. That is all I've added to my protocol, and it has certainly helped me, and I certainly believe in the team and the culture behind Mountain Ops. They have started an initiative that's been around for a while called Conquer Hunger. Conquer Hunger is giving meals to hungry kids that aren't getting enough food, and they've given out over 6 million meals plus to kids through their Conquer Hunger initiative. So every order that happens at Mountain Ops, a percentage of that order goes to Conquer Hunger. So certainly an incredible company, an incredible culture. As a listener to the show, you do get an exclusive offer to Mountain Ops, so make sure you check that out. The offer is incredible as a first-time purchase at mountainops.com. So build your order if it's your first time. They are offering you a 20% exclusive discount. All you need to do is enter the promo code Mountain Tough, all one word, all caps, for 20% off your first order at mountainops.com.
And I was committed. And so, but yeah, I believe at 12 years old, a switch was flipped, and it was sort of interesting. It was interesting for me. Probably the best part when I went to college, I ran track at Maryland. Everyone else goes to school with sort of like trying to figure out what's next. I I knew exactly what was next.
Mm-hmm.
That was the Army.
Yeah.
And so it was relieving, right? I never had that pressure like, oh my God, gotta get the grades to do this. I'm like, dude, I want to be an infantry grunt. I had good grades, but like a 2.0 will do. I don't need to be Professor Flo. But I utilized that opportunity in college and stuff just to prep myself physically, and it wasn't really my purpose, right? To run track in Maryland. I wanted to be, I was a competitor, but I knew that I was really investing in that foundation because I wanted to become, an Army Ranger and do all these things.
You had a deeper purpose.
Deeper purpose. So, and it's funny because it wasn't as if I put a strategy and a plan together to follow, very specific milestones or stepping stones into milestones. It was just, I knew I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. And then both worked together, and it led me to be this in the end.
Can you expand a little bit more on how you got from France to the United States?
Yeah, so listen, I was born in Poissy, France, just outside of Paris, and my biological mother was young and just wasn't planning on keeping me, so her sister adopted me. So I live with my aunt, who is my mom, so that's what I call mom, for in Paris for 11 years. But in between that, she dated Larry. And Larry became my father figure for, in the early years of my life until we moved with him in the U.S. and when I was 11, 12 years old in Chicago.
Okay.
Thus the Bears fan, sadly. And, it took a few years, but then he adopted me and gave me his name, Groberg. So that's how I got. So in essence, I'm a double adopted kid. It's kind of cool because I got adopted by my aunt, then I got adopted by this guy, my dad, love him to death. But it's cool for me because I always tell people, you didn't have to choose, well, I guess none of us choose, but your parents didn't get to choose you. Mine did.
Mm.
And that is something that I never. Instead of like hurting me or making me feel like my mom abandoned me, I thought it was super cool that people picked me to raise me, to give me this life. And look at the life that I have.
That's incredible.
It's incredible. And
incredible.
And part of that is because of the investment that they made in me at an early age. It was not easy. It was really difficult. We didn't have much money. We're very grew up in France. We were projects and all that stuff. But one thing I never lacked was love. Another thing I never lacked was discipline. But love was a big deal, and it's and again, it leads back to maybe what happened on August 8th, right?
Yeah, it's all tied to love. So 9/11 creates that enough is enough, not on my watch moment for you. You enlist, and then how do you wind up in the Ranger community?
I ran out of Ranger community by being a Ranger qualified, but I'm not a Ranger. So I'm not a battalion guy, and you have to clarify that, because if not, you will be crucified by
Sure.
the community. Um, I went infantry, conventional forces, so Ranger qualified, went to Ranger school, and I think Ranger school to me is where it's I think it's hands down the best school in the military across, because anyone can go. 62 days, three phases, uh, and it is the ultimate mental and slash leadership school.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is when we started this conversation, you were talking about the physical attributes versus the mental toughness, and how the importance of mental toughness and mental stability and things like that. No other place in the world has ever challenged me more than that school
Yeah.
on the mental side. The physically, it kicked my ass. You carry 100 pounds, 250 miles across 60 plus days, and you do it in stints, and you don't sleep much, you don't eat much during the field sessions. But it's the it's the it's the it's the mindset. It's the am I going to take a knee here and cover my sector, or am I just going to sit down for 5 minutes because no one's watching? Am I going to dig my foxhole and set up my guns and my sectors are fires, or am I just going to go take a 15-minute nap?
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to eat my MRE when I'm told to eat it, or am I going to cheat and start eating a little bit earlier? Things like that. Like, am I going to carry my weight? Am I going to load around in my chamber like I'm supposed to in the 249, but I'm scared to AD, or am I just going to keep it blank and just try to figure it? There's a lot of integrity in there, but a lot of it becomes, who am I? And am I willing to do the tough work?
Mm.
And it probably changed. The moment that changed me was in Mount phase, where, man, I was thinking about quitting every day. I hated that place. It rained every day for the first week, climbing up these mountains and just falling down and carrying all this weight, and your legs stink. It just sucks. Unrealistic, like, assaults on you. It's just so dumb. And I hated it. And I was like, why did I ever decide to do this? And I wanted to quit so bad. Like, I mean, I've never felt like I wanted to quit anything more in my life. And I had this guy named Gallardo, 173rd dude, had just been shot in the head in his helmet in a couple years prior. The Korengal, Sal Junta squad leader. Sal Junta is the first Medal of Honor recipient since Vietnam, living recipient since Vietnam.
Mm.
And he was a legend over there already. Everyone knew who Gallardo was at Ranger School. We kind of hated that, actually, because we felt that he was getting all the freebies and whatever, easy patrols, and just letting it through. So I thought he was nasty. And I don't know, he came to me one day. He's like, "You good, man?" I was like, "Man, this shit sucks. I don't think I can do this." He's like, "All right, yeah, it sucks. Been raining. Just people just nuts." It's like, I don't even know if I was like, "I've been in the car, but I don't need this either." It's like, "Well, we'll quit tomorrow. Let's quit. We'll quit together." I was like, "All right." Next morning, wake up, it's a sunny day, right? He comes up to me. He goes, "You ready to quit?" I was like, "Ah." He goes, "All right, one more day." I was like, "Yeah, one more day." The next day he comes up and he's like, "You ready to quit?" I was like, "Nah, I'm thinking good." He's like, "Yeah, never had." He's like, "Dude, you
Always
can't have a
tomorrow.
quitting mentality." He was never going to quit.
Yeah.
He's a warrior. And what he taught me was, we all go through tough times. You can feel sorry for yourself. Just keep moving one step forward and just give it another day. Give it another day. Quit tomorrow. Quit tomorrow. And then And I went through it, and I even went through the Death March where we did a full day of patrols. It's about 2,000. You're thinking you're setting up a patrol base to do your things and get a couple hours of rack and sleep, and they're like, nope, pick your stuff up. We're gonna walk, and they walked us till 5 a.m.
Hmm.
And a lot of things go through your mind at that point. Yeah, I was carrying. Of course, that was the night that I was carrying a 240, so I got that. Yeah, my nods failed me, and I started hallucinating. I dropped my stuff. I fell like 10 times. And I remember finally making it to the end and looking at it. And the RI ranger instructor goes, all right, it's 5 a.m. Next patrol starts in 25 minutes. So you guys got 25 minutes to figure out if you want to eat or sleep. And I remember just sitting there like this, just dying, tired, hungry. And I remember thinking, oh, finally, this is the moment where I find out if I'm a hungry ranger or a sleepy ranger. I'm gonna tell you one thing: I am a hungry ranger, and so I ate and I went through. So I didn't sleep for about 24 hours, 48 hours. Nuts.
It's nuts, man. I've got the privilege to go down there twice, and so the 375 community has, in a way, connected with Mountain Tough, and we connected with them under this idea of like how can Mountain Tough share a little bit of knowledge that we may have on high elevation performance with you guys, and you share a little bit of knowledge with mental toughness with us, and so we've done that the last 2 years, gone down to Benning, and both times we've gone out to the school and watched kids coming through, and it is incredible, man. Every time I've been there, I get this feeling where it's going to be hard to go home, because just being in that environment, you're like in a leadership manufacturing machine. And so from my side, just going to hang out there twice, you're like, man, the culture that they've created down there and the culture that they've upheld through Ranger School, and the way that it just, a lot of people quit, but the way that it prints out leadership it's absolutely incredible.
Before I say anything else, I just want to make sure that I'm clear that I have not gone through all the military schools, so it's not a fair way to do a comparison to others. But from my understanding, and at least from my experience, it's one of the toughest schools to go to, because obviously, as we were talking about the leadership aspect, also the physicality, but really the leadership and mental aspect. But it taught me a lot about me, and it prepared me for Afghanistan. I am so blessed that I had the opportunity to go there, because listen, I had to carry weight every single day in Afghanistan, up and down mountains in Kunar province, one of the most kinetic places in the world. And the last thing you need to worry about is, am I able to get up this mountain? And more importantly, once I get up there, or as I'm going up there, am I going to be able to be capable of making decisions?
Mm-hmm.
And Ranger School 100% clarified to me, yeah, you have no issues on the physicality side. You're good. What you need to work on is your flaws. And Ranger School taught me my flaws. My peers highlighted my flaws as a teammate and as a leader. And they were normal flaws, right? And so what it did is, as a school, why I call it the ultimate leadership school, is it it strips you to your core as a leader and as an operator, and it highlights your weaknesses and your flaws
Mm.
with bright lights.
Mm.
And then it's got massive speakers with all your peers telling you, this is who you are. This is how you act. So loud and so bright, you can't ignore it. It's there. The book's been written. but it's written in pencil, which means that you have the ability to erase those flaws and make them turn them into strengths. And that's what the school did to me in 62 days.
Dang.
And if it wasn't for that school, there's no chance, absolutely no chance that I would have been able to be as successful or as more, probably more, forget the word successful, because I don't consider successful as the right word. I would have been able to be as effective as an infantry leader in my, at least in my first tour.
Mm.
Because because I knew who I was and I knew who I was not. And I knew what I need to work on. And it was hard. Uh, it was makes you very vulnerable. But the one thing that is important to talk about is this mindset and this concept. I learned in combat that nothing. I learned in combat and after being blown up that nothing in the world is more lethal and tougher than my own brain. Not Taliban, not the Chechens, not Al Qaeda, not Haqqani Network, not the guys I fought over the years, Boko Haram, ISIS later on in life,
Hmm.
when I went to the clandestine sector. Nothing, none of these people are tougher than my own brain.
It's all between the ears.
It's all between the ears. It's fascinating, everything, because it is how you process information. It's the belief systems that you have internally. It's the and too many people are like, you're different. No, it's not I'm different. I'm not. It's that whether it's trauma, whether it's the situation I was put in, whether it's the training that I received, I've been able to sort of fine tune my brain and connect it with my own internal expectations and then work it with my physical, right?
Mm.
I'm 42 years old and I still work out 6 days a week. All right. So there's a process there. There's a commitment, there's a discipline.
Mm.
Um, and so I know what I'm capable of physically, but I also 100% am cognizant of the fact that if I'm not healthy here, if I'm not strong here, if I don't work on this, um, then this doesn't matter. It will all fail eventually. Uh,
Are there specific things you're doing from a mindset protocol standpoint?
so it's so dumb, right? Some people are going to be like, "This is so dumb." Like this is I do my like this you probably can't see this game right here, block blast,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
keeping the brain
Um,
going.
I do the flow free, right? It's another one for these guys to see flow free. I do a lot of mind games. I downloaded an app. Like this is an ad now for people, but called Impulse, where I do a lot of brain games,
Mm-hmm.
uh, math stuff. I try to I try to do IQ tests every. Okay, this is it's not like it's on a quarterly basis, but I've done two now last year, and just to see where I stand. I love like these puzzles and math stuff. So I do these games and these sort of like I use these apps to consistently challenge my brain. And then I become a sort of a student of who I am. Um, so I'll listen to podcasts, I'll read a couple things. I'm not a big reader as I used to. Like, people are like, I will never call myself a reader compared to others. Yeah, I did write a book, but but I'm just not. I'm more of a visual guy, and I like to listen. So I love a podcast when I'm working out,
Mm-hmm.
right? About grit, about motivation, leering quotes, talking about these people. Because it fires me up. I'm like, damn, I want to hear about this guy or this gal's struggle and stuff. And here I am trying to do, 50 pull-ups, whatever it is. I thought I could one day potentially do 50 pull-ups in a row,
Uh-huh.
uh, 34. But and I'm sucking, I'm hurting, I'm not stuff. And this person in my ears talking about their struggles, how they overcame, so it motivates the heck out of me. And it challenges me to tell my own story. But the one thing I will tell you, outside of like, there's a training element, which is these things I just talked about.
Yep.
And there's probably the biggest piece of it, and I think we all go through this, and you could probably attest to this, is is the internal fight that you have within your own brain when the brain is telling you that it needs to stop.
It's mad.
And
Yeah, that's a massive
for
one.
me, the way I've defeated it, in the end, the way I've coped with it and defeated it a lot of times is by being honest with myself. And man, it sucks when you're honest with yourself. Like that's how I feel. And then I'll go in the bathroom usually and just close the door. If I'm at home, I always have a candle, right? I love candles. I'll just put on a candle and I'll sit there and I'm honest. Dude, you try to cut a corner today. You just, man, you had too short of a temper with your son and blah blah, or you're not putting in the work that you're supposed to, or you're supposed to do, in your workout, you did 23 push-ups, 24 push-ups on the fifth round, and you still went at it.
Yeah.
You did it. You cheated yourself. Because no one cares. There's no cameras, just you. You cheated yourself. Why are you doing the workout by yourself in your gym to cheat yourself? And so I have like these weird conversations in my head about this, and it's me challenging myself to be better, to be better, to be better. Keep myself accountable, right? Not perfect, but we're going to own it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about when you lie to yourself. If I lie to myself, how the hell am I going to lie to my wife and everybody else around me? I'm lying to myself, right? So I decided a long time ago, I cut it raw. No one in the world is going to be more honest about me than me. No one's going to be able to call me out about stuff before I call myself up. And I'm going to be open about it if I need to be.
That's
right?
powerful, man. That is powerful.
It sucks because we're humans. Like we want to shield ourselves from embarrassment, from failure, from vulnerability. And I said, fuck it. The biggest critic about me is going to be me. And it's not going to be in the public. It's going to be me in that room when there's nothing else. This is it. This is all we have. Like I am it in terms of me. And so I'm going to keep myself accountable. And it's changed my life. It made me a lot better. It made me tougher, stronger, more efficient, a better teammate, sure as hell a better husband, and hopefully a good dad. But it made me successful because I'm the dude that they call in when all hell breaks loose to go fix things on my job and in the work that I do in private equity, not combat. I mean, things sound a lot cooler when I said it, but in corporate America. And that's because I'm not afraid to fail. Because in the end, if I fail, I know I'm going to get back up. I'm going to drive on. If I get fired, hypothetically, I'll find something else to do. And I can live with myself. The one thing that I do now that I did not do for a long time is I can go to sleep like a baby at night. And it's because I've been able to overcome my internal demons.
Mountain Tough is the fitness app trusted by the dedicated. Mountain Tough ethos is backed by, we've always wanted to be the best in the world at helping our customers become more mentally tough. So inside the Mountain Tough app, you're not only going to find all of our physical training programs, but you're going to find additional training as well so that you can stay sharp physically, mentally, spiritually, and nutritionally. The Mountain Tough app also allows you to train no matter where you are, anytime, anywhere. Additionally, the Mountain Tough app is going to have programs from beginners all the way up to elite athletes. And all of our programming is structured in a way that you can start with no gear at body weight, and you can go all the way up to programming that is full gear. So you can do that in a robust home gym or your local gym. There's no excuse for you not to start today. With Mountain Tough, you can conquer your goals with the ideal program for your lifestyle and schedule. Train with equipment or just your body weight on your phone, tablet, TV, or web browser. Most importantly, Mountain Tough will help you train your mindset so you are always ready for anything life throws your way. Mountain Tough is offering the Mountain Tough podcast listeners an incredible offer. 6 weeks free on the Mountain Tough app. All you need to do is use the code MTNPOD to redeem your 6 weeks of training. That'll be a 14-day free trial plus a whole additional 4 weeks of training. Just go to mountaintough.com and enter code MTNPOD for your 6 weeks free on the best-in-class physical and mental training app. Dude, one of our original COO at Mountain Tough, he came out of the Ranger Battalion. He was a 175 guy, and he had this one more rep mentality that was so awesome. Like if a workout said like, hey, you're gonna do 5 sets of 10, he would do 5 sets of 11. If it was like, hey, you're gonna do this 3x8, he would do a 3x9. And he did that and preached that everywhere he went, and it was just a game changer, because it's like, we're like, all right, dude, why are you doing 11 when it says 10? He's like, well, I just win every time, and I apply that to my work life, my family life, my professional life. If someone asks me to do 10, I do 11, and if I do that every day, year after year, decade after decade, that mindset fighting against that selfish nature for us to want to cheat against ourselves, it was just a sweet way to combat that.
I love it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try it.
Just one
I'm
more.
not saying that's gonna become a new model, but I'm gonna try it, see how it feels. And you know, it's funny, people don't realize is that when you start with whatever you find, sort of, I'll call it his it. When you find your it, whatever, for me, it's being in that room and being honest with myself. For him, it's one more rep. Everyone's different. Everyone needs to find their own it. You can emulate, mimic, replicate whatever another it, but it has to be, you have to own it and want it and believe it. But what it does in the end is it sort of simplifies everything else around you. For me, my priority is my family. So, I fly 2-3 times a week for business. I still do my workout stuff, but I do the 5 a.m.s. I do the red eyes. I try to be home. I do the same day flights, to DC back and forth from Dallas. And because I want to be there when my son goes to sleep, or I want to be there when he wakes up with my daughter and take him to school, spend that morning with them. That's my priority. And people are like, dude, how do you keep like doing like the 5 a.m.s and all that stuff? I'm like, it's easy for me. I know what my priority is.
Purpose.
And so my mindset is designated to make that, the top thing for me. And so I don't do the golf outings, I'll occasionally do something I have to, right, on the weekends, but it's just, I know my priority. And people are like, well, that's great. I have my priorities too. I'm like, yeah, but man, it's tough. It really is tough sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you this example is a couple of weeks ago, I came up with this stupid idea. It was a great idea, by the way, of getting all my Maryland friends when I went to high school in Maryland and college in Maryland together to go to the Maryland-Nebraska football game. Just do a tailgate. Let's all get together. Let's go do dinner after or whatever. Like, I haven't seen them in years, so many of them. Thought it was awesome. My wife, 2 weeks prior, week and a half prior, goes, hey, on this date, on Saturday, that weekend, it was Columbus Day weekend. It was a 3-day weekend. And she goes, we're going to potty train Orden. So for 72 hours, we stay in the house, he's naked, and we're potty training. And I'm like,
that's tailgate weekend.
That's the weekend. Like, all the boys are going, all stuff. And I thought about it for like 10 minutes, and I just texted the boys like, hey, I'm going to be there. I'm potty training Orden. Yeah, and look, did I want to be with my friends? Did I want to go drink beers and go to a football game? 100%. Did I want to go out to dinner and catch up and stuff? 100%. Did I come up with the idea? Yup. Did they go do it? A lot of them did. They had fun. I'm sure they did a great time. Do I regret it? 100% not. I get to go spend 3 days with a psycho little mutant, monster little boy peeing all around the place, and shape a momentous moment in his life, which
Mm.
is learning how to go potty. It sounds stupid, but it's actually huge. And to be there with him and celebrate every time he went to the bathroom, right? And with stickers and how happy he was. And I was like,
The priorities, man.
my priorities, I was able to remove a selfish, joyous moment that I wanted to go back and refocus and make sure I focus on my priority, which is my family, and still find probably even more joy in doing that,
Mm.
right? Instead of being disgruntled, because I could have stayed home and been an ass. Oh, well, disgruntled, right? Feel sorry for myself. No, I eliminated that. And that takes mental toughness, right? It's really hard to do. And I promise you, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have been in this mindset.
It,
It took reps, took time, it took appreciation too. And so I just think
it's connected to how we started though. Like once you have your purpose, you can endure anyhow, and your purpose earlier on of hunting evil, and then your purpose now of fatherhood, like anchored in those purposes, is what allows you to have those clear priorities without regret. But having confusion around your purpose, which many people have, that leads to like someone would have been home potty training and regretting that they're not with the boys. But when you can have that purpose locked in, it changes the game.
it just simplifies it for you. It makes it a no-brainer, right? As we talk about the brain. And it just honestly, it's for me, it just settles me. Like, yeah, love to be with the boys. This is it right here. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna have these moments again,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Like I'm never gonna potty train this kid again. Or be it's and do I want to be the father that's decided to go drink beers and beer bong or beer, whatever, and go watch his team lose, which they lost, by the way, which sucks. So, versus being part of what matters. And it takes maturity, it takes training, it takes honesty. I said 10 years ago, 15 years, I wouldn't have been there. I mean, I was, I couldn't go to sleep without Ambien, drank a lot more alcohol, shielded pain, wasn't as healthy,
Hmm.
felt sorry for myself. After the blast, I had survivor's guilt and all that stuff. And, I think that one exercise, getting back obviously on the physical side, but the one thing that that's when I found that my in being honest with myself.
Hmm.
How can anyone help fix me if I can't be honest with me of who I am in this moment and how I feel?
Hmm.
And to all my buddies who are struggling, I will never tell them I understand what you're going through because it's so personal to them. There's no chance I will ever understand what they're going through. I know they're going through something tough. I went through something tough, but I will tell them, here's a thing that I did to help me. Let's go try to figure out what your it is to help you, so we can start on the healing sort of
Yeah.
mission.
Yeah.
Um,
Might be unique to each person.
I think it is. I mean, look, it doesn't mean you can't replicate that. It doesn't mean that people can't do exactly what I do. But like I said earlier, you got to believe it. It can't be. It's not a gimmick. Can't be a gimmick, right? Um, and and it takes repetition and it takes commitment. The good news about mine is that it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. Um, and so it's out of your day, and you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to do it every day. Um, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
That's yeah. You need to be really honest with yourself, right? uh, and it's changed my life. But you're right. In essence, though, mental resiliency and how it stepped up. Like for me, my purpose, my why, and my mind was shaped by what happened when I was 12 years old. It
Mm-hmm.
was it was a start. Then every experiences and the hard work and the the people around me that shaped me to become what I was supposed to become. But when it was all said and done, I went through the hardest moment of my life when four Command Sergeant Major Griffin, Major Gray, Major Kennedy, and Reggie were killed, and I lived.
Mm.
And then when they highlighted me as a hero and by awarding me the Medal of Honor,
Mm.
which I thought was crazy,
Yeah.
the worst day of my life. And so my brain really went into overdrive and trying to self-destruct to an extent because of the guilt, the shame, and that you felt.
Can you walk me through that day in 2012?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it was August 8, 2012. It was supposed to be an easy patrol in the eastern part of Afghanistan in Kunar province. We're gonna fly from Jalalabad, where we were stationed at, to FOB operating base Fayez, tiny little FOB in Kunar, in Asadabad specifically, the city. And I was escorting some high-ranking officials, on the Army side and the Afghan side. I was supposed to have a 15 to 20 men U.S. soldier escort waiting for me. When we landed, there was none, which is not good. So I went and found Afghan National Police. And they were just smoking cigarettes and put them up front. We had 15 of them, put them up front. So I wanted to create the appearance of a bigger group.
Hmm.
And then the mission was simple. We were supposed to walk 1,100 meters from the FOB to this Governor Wahidi's compound, so the governor of Kunar, to attend a security meeting. And 700 meters into the movement, as soon as we were about to cross a bridge, a diversion happened. They came at us with motorcycles, and to create a diversion. Same time, guy was in the structure to our left right before the bridge, walked out, saw him, thought he was odd looking, but didn't have time to do a full assessment of like diversion, bad guy. Just you've been in too many firefights and situations that you just know that one anomaly, two anomaly is no longer an anomaly. It's a threat. And so um I I ran towards him as he made his way towards us, hit him hard across the chest, grabbed him, confirming he had a suicide vest, and bomb, 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 and then grabbed him as far as I could and threw him as far as I could at that moment. And he landed at my feet, didn't throw him too far, and he detonated. He threw me 30 feet. Woke up a couple minutes later, full blood, facing me, fibula out, just, nasty. But I lived. My medic saved my life. He applied a tourniquet, put me in a ditch. I asked for a situation report on what happened. And that's when they told me that Command Sergeant Major Griffin, Major Gray, Major Kennedy, and Reggie had all been killed. So I received the Medal of Honor for going towards the threat and tackling a suicide bomber and putting my life on the line. Some Mahoney, my RTO, followed me right into it. He received a Silver Star. But in the end, not a single second of my life in that moment was thinking about my life ending. Everything was about making sure that I got him away from everybody else as quickly as possible.
Crazy.
And that's probably the proudest moment that I have in terms of that day on myself. But the real heroes of that day are my entire team that were able to really shield the rest of the group and cordon the area and do triage and really prevent a disaster from becoming a real uglier scene where everybody dies. But people are like, how do you do it? How do you run towards a suicide bomber? I was like, well, when you love your brothers the way I did, and when you understand that your job is to protect them at all costs, include your own life, and when you're a professional in your trade craft, you just do it. And my mind was locked in. I was trained for this. And instincts kicked in and allowed me, my training, my instincts allowed me to operate. And my brain did not become an obstacle. It became an ally because it pushed me to go do it.
There was no hesitation.
None. No hesitation on this one. Don't have time to hesitate. You just got to go do it. But here's the thing, what I said to you earlier, I did not know I was that guy. I knew I was in firefights. I knew I was calm and cool, collected in firefights. I done stuff. I did not know I was that guy. Never really thought about it. And I probably would have been like, I don't know if I would be capable of doing it. You don't know until it happens. And there's three courses of actions. One, deer in headlights, freeze, shit, bad. It's about what's happening. Two, seek um, um, uh, self. What do you call that word? Why am I blanking? When you're trying to protect your own self. Um,
Yeah, you'd be like, cause
Self-preservation,
yep,
right? To an extent, right? Where you seek shelter and hide, right? Because you're trying to save your life. And three, which is the most uncommon one, is you sprint towards danger. And people are like, wow, I can't believe you did this. I was like, well, the first, thing that you learn in the military and in your training is how to cover me while I move, right? How to close in the target. So you literally run towards danger, like towards bullets. One guy, as you're running, one guy is putting suppressing fire, right? And you get to cover me while I move, get back up, suppressing fire at the target, you move. So like literally the first thing that they train you, right, is how to move towards danger
yep.
and get the confidence and work as a team. So I was like, that to me, in essence, is I just took my training, allowed my instincts to kick in, and my brain was locked in. And then you add a little element of love in there to do what we considered kind of crazy, which did not consider at the time. I didn't even think about it. And then you have the action, and it happens. Um, so
So with
yeah,
that,
think about that.
with that blast radius from the suicide bomber, you take a heavy hit, but then the direction of the radius kills
Yeah,
four guys
ball
nearby.
bearings. Yeah, so after the concussion threw me, the ball bearings killed them.
Hmm.
Ball bearings took a piece, like 50% of my calf and stuff, but I was saved by being literally on top of him, and the fact that he landed chest first and that was sort of a hard dirt pack, almost concrete, felt like road. So it because he landed chest first, the road took the impact
They launched you,
and launched me.
and then the bearings came out.
Yeah,
For more than a century, America's sportsmen and women have led the way in paying for the restoration of wildlife, conserving habitat, and investing in the future of our natural world. This is a legacy built not on what we take ourselves, but on what we give back. That's the nature of conservation, paying it forward for the next generation. This is the reason Mountain Tough is a proud partner of Wild Sheep Foundation, an organization committed to keeping and putting wild sheep on the mountain. If you're not already a member, learn more today at wildsheepfoundation.org.
it's just lucky and blessed on my end, and unlucky and disastrous for Gray, Kennedy, Reagan, and Kevin. It's just and their families, and so you live with that, and your mindset is, I will earn every moment that I have on this earth for these guys and their families. And that's also Novacek, that's also Brown, that's also another Kennedy, many friends that we've lost over the years over there. So
How long were you in physical hospital, rehab, prehab, coming out of that?
oh boy, um, I was 5 months inpatient, so it was a long time. um, Another year plus of learning how to walk again, and consistent surgeries every couple of weeks, dealing with infections, and then I went to work, and then I had probably since then I've had probably another 10, 12 surgeries over the years. So I spent 3 years in the hospital, but really a year and a half of actual active recovery. Another year and a half, I got recruited by the agency and went to work there, but I was still sort of assigned to the hospital,
Mm.
and I would still go get treatment there. So physical therapy, wound vac. I have skin grafts, so sometimes it would get open, and I had to do a lot of wound vac and wound care there. So it was it's been an experience. I have to have another surgery here. They got to break my toes and put pins in them and put them back because they're starting to curl.
Hmm.
Um, but in hindsight, it's pretty chill. Like just a little bit of pain could be a lot worse. I can still do everything that I want to go do. Learn how to walk again in a different way, different gait with my left leg, and I can't run like I used to. But to be honest with you, I don't want to run like I used to anyway. So I'm all right.
I've talked to a handful of guys that have received medals, and it has created a tailspin in like a rock bottom season of their life around like that survivor's guilt. Did you, when you received the medal, did you go into a low point of your life?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, without knowing it, but I think it was you never talk about August 8, 2012, my day, and now you're talking it on Colbert show. You're in front of crowds. You do commencement speeches and all sorts of crazy stuff. And so you what you do is you have a face externally, and then you're at home. You have a self-destruction sort of moment, and unfortunately, it's the closest ones to you. In my case, was my wife, who had to deal with that self-destruction in the household. And so for me, it was just a mix of nonstop events and drinking and dealing with my demons and being very uncomfortable and not having a plan of action. And so you go through therapy and you start, being honest with yourself and kind of everything we talked about, my its, and it help me. And you don't allow substance to be a dictator of your ability to be able to go do what you're supposed to go do. Not saying I drank to go speak. I would go to events and then they feed you drinks all the time. And I just, it's a lot easier to be able to express your feelings when you're a little bit intoxicated. So I thought. Now it's completely different. My therapy is being able to talk about that day because now I can release it. See, you try to keep the demons inside. You want everyone else to know you have them, and so they win, right? Because they're inside your heart and your head. They're playing games with you because they know that you're ashamed, that you're in these thoughts. And the moment you start talking about them, and you're honest, you bring vulnerability, they go away.
Boom.
Well, to me, right?
Yeah.
Because they no longer control me. They no longer have a lock on the door saying, wow, look at you. Like, yeah, dude, I'll call myself out all day before anyone else. That's why that 5 minutes to 10 minutes in that room, in that bathroom, whatever it is very important to me because if I'm as most honest with me in my own head, I have no issues being absolutely completely open book and open on the outside and talk about this. I'm talking about it right now, right? And so they can't control me. But before, when I kept everything inside, and I was like, no one, I don't want anyone to know how I'm feeling or what I'm going through, what I'm thinking. They controlled me, and you added substance to it, whether it was in the hospital, Dilaudid, ketamine, oxys, morphine, or outside the hospital, alcohol, chewing tobacco, whatever it is, really alcohol. Boom.
It's a lot of substances. Yeah, it's a lot of attacks.
Yeah. It changed my life. But it starts here. Everything, that's why I love your podcast. It starts here. It's everything else is secondary. Everything else is secondary. I've seen individuals with no limbs do extraordinary things. Travis Mills is a great example. I've seen people who are paralyzed figure out how to get out of a wheelchair. So I'm part of I want to connect you with the Adaptive Training Foundation with David Verbora.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
One of the most exceptional men I've ever met in my life. And I'm a board member of this group. We had an individual that's been in a wheelchair for 8 years, right? Came through our course for 9 weeks. 9 weeks later, he's not only did stand up and walk, but he also did a 6-inch step up.
Dude.
Right? So,
that's
and
insane.
You know what? And why David would be great for your podcast, for your crew to listen to this, it's because it's in the head. Everything that we do, the physicality is just a present reality, but the concept to get through what people have considered your impossible stands in your head,
Mm.
and we find ways to unlock your ability to remove those barriers that you seemed that you've put in front of you, and those doors that you've locked, and go do what even the medical sort of community at times say you can't do.
They say
And
it's
he's done this
impossible.
over and over and over and over again. I mean,
Incredible.
it's addicting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Well,
a lot more work to do. I am not a finished product, but at least I have my playbook, and I'm always looking. As I said, when I'm training, I listen to these podcasts and I listen to inspirational people, or people who go through some really specific, interesting experiences. Because I'm always trying to fine tune and figure out, okay, where can I better myself?
mm-hmm.
But one thing that I'll never have to worry about is being honest.
Dude, I love it because even like recently, all the science is starting to articulate what these mindset methods have been preaching for a while. So you see that a lot where things that work, at some point in time, science catches up and explains why they work. But recently there's been two big things talked about a lot from a scientific approach. One is the neuroplasticity of our brain. And so if I think negatively about myself, I'm starting to create these highways in my brain, and then any other thought is going to fall into that highway and run down that groove. And then if I think it again, that groove gets deeper. And if I think it again, that groove gets deeper. And pretty soon I can only think negatively about things that are thrown at me in my life, because those grooves just create this natural pathway for that thought to follow. And it's very difficult for that thought to come out of that groove and go somewhere else. And so they've scientifically shown now that is the neuroplasticity in our brain, and you can actually start to carve new grooves if you want to. And so rather than having something approach you and think negatively about yourself or it, you can start to consciously get that out of that old negative highway and into a new positive highway. And then if I do that over and over again, I can carve this positive groove in my brain, which is just freaking awesome. Like, it's awesome that we can literally get our brain to do exactly what we need it to do to reach the goals in our life. And then they also discovered the willpower component of our brain. And it's talked about now a lot in the last 3 years around, there's an actual chunk of our brain that is the willpower chunk. And if you are doing things that you don't necessarily want to do, that part of your brain will grow. So just like training your bicep, if you train your brain by doing hard things that you don't want to do, like the one more rep, or doing all the workout is requiring you to do and not cheating yourself, that part of your brain just grows and your willpower grows. So they find with like the extreme obese population, that part of our brain, that part of their brain is actually apathied and very, very tiny. But someone who is like a Olympic athlete, that part of their brain is very, very strong and large. So the science is catching up to mindset and even like spiritual principles that have been around for thousands of years. Like what you're doing in your closet with your candle reminds me so much of, like, you're just going straight into confession and repentance. And
Yeah.
like you even described it so well, that anytime we bring something into the light, it's not something to be scared of anymore. It's when it's in the darkness that it just kills us and destroys us. But if we can bring that thing into the light, which is what you're doing, it's just so powerful. So I love that, like, these principles that have been around are starting to be talked about more and proved with science. But I also love that. I couldn't agree with you more that like everything we want to do and can do, it's between the ears, and we can control what's going on between those ears.
Yeah, that's it right there. And the moment you start understanding that and you start believing it and you put a plan together, is a moment that you sort of you take a turn.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you one thing. I agree with the and I've been victim of this my own self, which is if you believe something, especially a negative thing, so much, even though it's not there, it can feel like it becomes there. So example are, I thought I had a lot of back issues, and I thought I had some type of MS. And I was convinced I had this. I started creating fake pains in my own body.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing there. My pain was somewhere else. And so I didn't understand it until I started being honest again and working it and started being like, okay, deep breath. That's why you're thinking this. You're overthinking it. You're scaring yourself. You're reading, WebMD. My wife works for WebMD. It's and blah blah and you're telling you're putting cancer in your head. You've seen all your friends get cancer and stuff, and we're putting these. And it's fascinating when I started really focusing on like, no, I don't have that. It's a fact. When it's a doctor, we don't have it. I'm thinking about it because I'm reading about it. I don't have it. And you start playing a game, boom, 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 boom. Haven't had that thought. I haven't had an issue in my neck in a year.
Mm.
Before that, like I would have just turning it and stuff. It was crazy. And I went to all the chiropractors and stuff. And in the end, it was just I literally created an injury.
You can manifest
in my
it.
Own head.
You can manifest stuff, dude.
You start manifesting things. And then someone explained that to me. They're like, look, yeah, you have back issues, but this, like, what you're feeling here, like, you don't have it. Like, there's nothing there. Everything's structurally sound. Like, so it's a nerve thing. So we thought it was a nerve thing. And I got epidurals done and stuff. In the end, it was just me. It was like, I really thought, I chewed too much tobacco in my previous years, and now I had this type of cancer, and it was crazy. My God, I was such my own worst enemy for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But look, I'm honored I had the opportunity to be on your podcast.
Likewise, brother. Yeah,
it's cool.
Likewise.
It's cool. To all your Ranger friends, I want to clarify, you're qualified. I did not say I was part of the battalion, okay? Only anybody come after me. I have too many Ranger friends that will just shit on me.
Yeah.
Unless I make it very clear that I went to Ranger school and Ranger qualified.
I get it.
Put it out there.
I get it. Well, thank you, and thanks for being vulnerable, man. And I think you being vulnerable is part of what is going to create change, and I think that is what is needed. And I think that you being vulnerable is bringing things out into the light, not only for you, but for everyone that listens to this. So appreciate that and appreciate you.
No, not anytime.
Thank you. What a great conversation with Florent. Lots in there, lots to unpack. What a phenomenal story from the early times of him growing up when he saw terrorism take the life of his uncle and devoted his life to the pursuit of evil ever since then, to the Army, to going through Ranger school. Remember, every single episode we are looking for that golden nugget. The big one for me with Florent is he talked a lot about holding himself accountable. He's going to be the one who calls himself out for messing up his diet, missing a workout, not focused on his mental health, his mental exercise. He's very good at the discipline of holding himself accountable, not relying on others, which is a strong, strong characteristic of mental toughness. Thanks so much for being here. Love you guys, and we will see you on the next episode.